While I'm live right now, we are going to discuss the going against the grain mentorship program. The reason why I feel like it's essential and just the information on how to get involved with it. And specifically, I wanted to make sure that everyone know that this mentorship is for all ages. It is online. Now, when I say all ages, of course, we want it to be those who are readers and have the comprehension skills, right? But when you really get to, as I'm going to break down the description, when you get to learn more about the program, you're going to discover that even parents can benefit from the information. So the going against the grain, right? The vision and importance behind this program is really based upon the fact that when you get more aware of the school to prison pipeline, when you get more aware of the generations that are growing up now and the things that they are experiencing now, my generation already experienced, right? And this is what I can tell you by fact from speaking to multiple groups of youth that have went through the channels of living in the city, growing up in a household, whether it was a single mom, single dad, or two parents home, the challenges that they face in Baltimore City are identical to the challenges that you face in Chicago. And the challenges that they face in Baltimore, Chicago are identical to the challenges they are facing in St. Louis and the same challenges they are facing in Detroit and the same challenges they're facing in New Orleans, right? So as a young man being at going into the age of 30 and losing 10 years of my experience to incarceration and knowing that the behaviors that I participated in, knowing that the lifestyle and the norms that I adapted, growing up and seeing people saw that in my front doorstep, growing up and seeing that the drug trade was on my playground. I had two playgrounds on one campus, but it was still a situation where, and I'm so mad that I got missed this call. Just that's a call from behind the wall, but they'll be understanding, and I'll make sure I follow up with them. But even that connection, right? Coming out of incarceration, the entire reentry process, it takes support. And the support that you need is not always financial and employment. It's mental, psychological, and the social debriefing that you need when you come from incarceration into society. So going against the grain, right? It get into my story slightly. This isn't my whole story. It's your story, it's your son's story, it's your uncle's story, it's your niece's story, it's your daughter's story. The experiences that I had, and I stopped at 18 years old, and I'm sitting in Western Correctional Institution, and the only thing that I can do to get by my time is I said, I'm going to write. And when I start writing, I said, I'm going to write some essays. And when I got one essay done, I said, I'm going to write another one. And when I got two essays done, I said, you know what? I'm going to write 10 essays all together. That is what formed going against the grain. By doing these essays, I was able to pull out things inside of myself that were lessons that children now, youth now identify with the things that I went through. And I'm gonna give you an understanding how it's proven that this story can help and can be effective. During the time that I was incarcerated, I would give a guy my book. In the ages that I would give the guys, my book would be from 18, 21, 30, 35. And I would ask him, I say, hey, look, if you read this book, you know, I need something in return. I need you to write 3 paragraphs on what you got from the book. And a lot of the times, the people would read the book and they wouldn't write nothing, but there were also a lot of times where people did write something. And from them going through that process of really assessing what they took from the book and giving me feedback, the most beautiful thing that I took was that they really understood at 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. When I stopped writing in 2013, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I had the elder Bobby Conway, rest in peace his soul, Eddie Marshall Conway. he edited it for me, and he had got it back to me because he actually got moved into another institution. But I said, "Hey, Bob, but look, I just wrote this book. I want you to look over it." And when it got back to me, it actually had its edits, and I got the original version. Now I think about it, I gotta dive into my paperwork and get that right. But I took his edits, and I was in the education department at the time, working in Patuxent Institution as an academic tutor. So even while I was behind, I was doing things that was putting my mindset in a different space. So I'm literally in prison, and there's nothing really pretty, there's nothing really positive going on, but I'm making sure to the best of my ability that I'm being the most positive impact that I can be. So by doing that, I am securing myself the capability of not getting in trouble in the institution and being productive. And this is the person that I came out of incarceration as the embodiment of the training that I was doing with myself while incarcerated. A lot of us, men and women, never have the time to spend with ourselves. And in one of my chapters, it's called Lock Yourself Up. And the idea is to put yourself in a situation where kind of assimilated, where you don't go outside, you don't go places, you be limited to the house, right? And go through those emotions. And I'm talking about an extended period of time and deal with yourself. See how many things you love about yourself. See how many things, how you really know about yourself. How strong are you really, right? And I want to get into the breakdown of the going against the grain. So in the first week, beginning in August, the first thing we will be going to is self identity, right? And by self identity, it will be a challenging you to get into that. One of the hardest questions you'll have to answer is, who am I? And when you have to answer, who am I, it's not your name, right? And it's not who you want to be or who you ideal to be, but you have to sit in that moment and say, who am I right now? And then we dive into the deeper discussion of purpose and what's your purpose and discovering that purpose and how to make your purpose enacted in the world. And I think that this online course is so important because as much as we want to get back to the regular life and getting back into spaces, right? I know for sure that there are young men right now that can benefit from having the obligation to be committed to this mentorship program. And it's only talking 2.5 hours, right? Now the challenge is it is daily. It is a daily commitment, 5 days a week. For the entire month, you're getting a break on the weekends. There will be assignments and follow-ups and things that challenge you to really get into really discovering where you are, going against the grain. What does that mean? That means that if you're on the groove with the grain and the hood norms and everything that we're socialized to believe is okay, and this is what's going on, it's like, yo, I ain't got no other choice. I'm out here trapping. This is what it is. I gotta feed my family. Bro, I'm out here toting, we beefing, there's things going on. You gotta understand. All right, boom. But what happens to those youth that have an opportunity to not to be involved fully, where they feel hopeless and lost, or they are at that point where they feel hopeless and lost and need to be pulled back up? And I am almost, not just almost, I apologize. I am guaranteed that through going through this program, even if you benefit just this much, you will benefit something. Now, in the second week, we'll be going into character development, right? And that's where the challenge really comes. We've looked at purpose, we looked at discovering what our purpose may be, trying something and putting it into action. And by character development, we're going to really discover our strengths, highlight our weaknesses, and work to minimize those weaknesses, make them strengths, and make our strengths stronger, right? And then we go into the concept of manhood and womanhood versus boyhood and girlhood, right? And when in this society we grow up and you say, all right, I'm 18 years old now, I'm a man. I'm 18 years old now, I'm a woman. I could do it on my own. Really, in a lot of instances, we turn 16 and feel like we can do it on our own. So I feel like the necessary point to look at, where when you look at the genitals of a male and that's what makes a boy in that concept, and you get into that discussion, I want them to understand that boys don't have discipline. I want them to understand that girls don't have discipline. Boys and girls need someone and some external factor say, no, don't do that. Stop. A man, a woman, operates with already having that training and that internal system, that morals, that consciousness has been raised. And I'm not doing things because I understand that it's not right. I'm doing not doing things because I understand it's not productive. I am doing this because I understand that based upon my role in my household and community, I have to be active so that I can protect this and grow this. It's not just about me. So that's very important to get into, right? And these are concepts I learned myself from going through a rites of passage and really understanding. So I'm not just coming off the wing. I'm coming from being educated by other men and women who've already went through this process, and I'm now sharing the information that I've learned, right? And then unhealthy relationship views. Think about how we view men and think about how we view women. Think about how important it is to understand a healthy sex practice, healthy understanding of when you love someone, because we're in a world where it seems like there's no love. We're in a world where a lot of people are failing to or don't even have the desire to be committed, loyal, trustful, because we feel like these concepts aren't practiced widely. So why are we practice them? So we want to address that, right? And the best part about it is a group therapy aspect to this. And from my experience, group therapy is very helpful, especially when people share their experiences and their stories, where you get to, just see that while I'm not the only one going through this, or I'm not the only one that didn't understand, or this is something I do understand. I can share my own knowledge and wisdom and help others, right? And there are many elements to this, right? But just for the month of August, those would be the main things that we get into: self identity, character development, manhood, womanhood versus boyhood, girlhood, unhealthy relationship views. Now, there's an extended version, but for this version, the first mentorship online course is 100% free. The only thing you do have to do is purchase the book and read the book and be prepared to discuss what you learn from the book as we go into the actual set course study, right? And just for example, for one part with anger management, there is a manual, there is PowerPoint presentation associated with it, and it is interactive, and it is even going to be handouts, right? Things that is going to challenge you, right? And the young brother I just seen meet come on was good. He knows that even being incarcerated, I took an active role in mentorship and just in the worst environments. And we gotta understand coming up in Baltimore City with negativity being so prominent and so like a dominant mentality, we can't be afraid to be positive and step into those arenas where it isn't positive and still be positive. And the goal of the Northwest Wellness Project is to make positive cool again, right? And really get into what that means, right? Because us as men and women who are being productive, we have to show them that this is attractive, this is cool, but they're not going to know what's cool if we're not demonstrating it, right? So there will also be yoga that will be available to everyone for free in the beginning and the end of each class. And we're going to be doing fitness challenges as well. So I hope that just from the brief outline of hearing what the mentorship program had to offer, that you look into it, sign up, and get involved. In order to get involved, hit up Northwest Wellness Project at gmail.com. That's Northwest Wellness Project. Everything spelled correctly at gmail.com to get more information on that. Thanks for taking the time to join me on this live. If you can, share it, like, and comment. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because we will be giving out more information here.